Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of the Coffee with Coaches podcast. You're hearing a lot from me lately. I love doing this show, and coaches love coming on. So thanks for being here again. I'm your host. And today I am very lucky to have with me Lori Irvine. Lori is an expert in professional empowerment. She motivates teams to maximize their capacity for excellence. She inspires by supporting clients in the discovery of their true potential. Lori enjoys meeting new people and is fascinated by their uniqueness. She's open-minded and passionate about helping individuals to identify and enhance their strengths. Lori, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Very inspiring bio. I'm like, ooh, all right. I get to talk to you for the next 15 or 20 minutes. This is great.
Good.
Let's start at the start. Let's begin at the beginning. How did you first find yourself either realizing or becoming a coach, realizing maybe you were one and deciding to pursue it as a career, as a passion? How did you get your start?
Well, what I started out was in organizational development. So I worked at a hospital in organizational development. And a lot of the pieces that I had to do in that role had to do with coaching. Some of it was wellness and some of it was coaching, training, teaching, and facilitating. And from that, I realized that it was something that I had a unique ability to do that. I was comfortable with facilitation, but mainly I had the passion for supporting people and their awareness to not only recognize the why or what they want to do, why they want to do it, and what motivates them to improve, and then to help them and support them in achieving their goals for positive change. And for me, the benefit for me and the reward for me, so it's twofold. It's for the client and it's also for me to see positive change and see results.
So it's something I think we acknowledge it sometimes, but not often enough, how rewarding coaching is. It's just so personally, and it's not that you necessarily seek that reward out, but it's like just getting to be out in the sun on a nice warm day where you could feel the warmth on your skin and it just makes you happier. I don't know, maybe I'm glorifying or maybe I'm romanticizing it a little bit like I tend to do, but it's so rewarding, this business. I really love it.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
So let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of your coaching approach and your coaching practice. I know you have individual coaching that you do yourself, and you're also part of a coaching group. Talk about what, and choose whichever options you'd like to talk about, but what are the nuts and bolts of your coaching practice? One-to-one, group, which niches do you focus on, et cetera? Take it wherever you'd like to take it.
Okay, so coaching for me, so I have a couple different focuses for coaching. So one is that I do fitness coaching, so I do personal training. I also teach fitness classes. So that is typically one-on-one if it's a personal training session, and then if it's not, it's either a couple session or a group session. And the approach is definitely different depending on which way you go with that. The practice management coaching that I do for a practice management company. I'm part of a three-person team of experts. And because it's for dentists, we have the three different expertise, and that one is business focus. So they work with the systems that deal with the numbers and the scheduling and those type of administrative systems. There's clinical coaching that deals with the clinical end. And then there's the people part, which is the part that I do. So I do training for synergistic team training and also leadership training. Sometimes that is done in a team setting because it has to be. Sometimes it's focus groups and sometimes it's one-on-one training, depending on what the objectives are of the session. And, sometimes these can be done in person. Sometimes they can be done virtually, obviously on phone calls and as teleconferences. And that is all directly related to what are the outcomes that have to happen in that session.
I love the what would be a good term, like the full stack approach, where there's not, you basically address in a very specific and refined way all the different aspects that contribute to a successful business. It's in dentistry primarily. It's for dentists.
Right now, yeah, but there's other companies that I work for where I work on things that are specific to like communication, problem solving, stress management, norms, behaviors, working with performance and performance development, those type of things I do as well outside of the dental management field. The trouble is when dentists get their certificates and when they open up businesses and start ownership of practices, they don't often realize that it has a lot more to do than the clinical side of dentistry, that they have to more or less be realtors, plumbers, Oftentimes counselors and those kind of things creep up once you open up a dental practice. So they find a lot of value in that work. And like I said before, like finding value and seeing results like that is something that's what motivates me to continue on in my coaching practice.
I love that. It's a tremendous, because anybody who like is going to start a business, wherever they're coming from, they want to do the thing that they're good at, they've learned how to do, they're passionate about it, they care about it. And then you begin and you realize, oh, I have this second job now that is running the business that allows me to do the thing that I love to do and that I'm good at. And it could be overwhelming for some people. And I love that you are there to move into that space and be like, okay, let's take some of this off your plate. Let's show you maybe how to do this stuff over here that maybe isn't your passion, maybe isn't your strength. And we'll get that taken care of. You could still understand it, but then you could just do the thing that you're good at, the thing that you've trained for, the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that drives you. I love that. It's so enabling in a positive way and guiding. It's such and so necessary too. I feel like we're finally getting to a point in a general sense where we're realizing how necessary coaching is for so many different aspects of life, where it's just like we have the things we want to do. We're going to need help doing them. There are going to be things that we're not going to know. We're going to come up. We're going to be like, oh, I just love the fact that you were like, you have to be your own plumber, your own general contractor. It's all these different things you have to do, all these different hats you have to wear. And, we only have the one head.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So let's talk about the near future. What's coming up in 2022 for you in your coaching? Do you have any like speaking engagements or programs or courses or anything like that might be coming up in the year to come?
Well, what we're doing a lot more now that we didn't do as much before is that we're adjusting like everybody else is to the results of what COVID brought us to. So most of the things that we did in the past before before the pandemic were things that were in-person coaching. What we had to do then is pivot because, and as most people did, including the fitness industry, is to do things online. So a lot more things were done online. The beauty of that was that we were able to get the ear and the time of the dentists specifically during that time, because when the practices were closed and we were in lockdown, we actually had their attention and we were able to work more with them on systems and training them and their teams, when we typically couldn't do that, or it was a challenge because of downtime and scheduling with patients, right? So learning from that, it was a real eye-opener as to what are some of the things that we could do to open up the box and try different things and try new ways to do workshops online, to do training online, to work out in breakout rooms and those kind of things, and be as creative as we can with not a lot of prep, because it was like, okay, we're going to learn this quick. Right. But it was great in that sense. Right. And it really made a difference, especially in dentistry, because being forced to come back to work and have to follow systems like screening and all the protocols for COVID, people who were worried about businesses having a dip or a failure, a lot of them actually did better because there was a push to have to follow systems. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't have a whole bunch of people in your reception area. You had to make sure that people were confirmed, because you can only have so many people in an op at the same time, or in a dental practice. Mm-hmm. So I think it brought on a true respect for, at least in the dental industry, that systems are important and they actually work for your business, right? So I think, so when we look at that, and the way that I'm wired is, I always see when things come to us is not a bad thing, but an opportunity to reinvent things and to, here we have it. What can we do and what can we work with and be different because of it, rather than, oh God, what are we doing? Let's all hide in the corner until it's over. Right?
Don't get me wrong, I might have done a little bit of hiding in the corner, but it was mostly real seeing the opportunity. I love, and I find this in so many coaches I talk to, but it's just that, not just willingness, but that ability to see the opportunity in the crisis. And I know it's, at this point, it's maybe old hat, the old saying, crisis and opportunity are essentially the same thing. It's a matter of perspective. And I just love that. And I especially love the aspect of this where one thing that COVID brought with it was this downtime that allowed people who would otherwise be far too busy and maybe be making themselves far too busy, maybe a little purposefully, to actually sit and consider their systems, ways that things could be better, maybe even should be better, and then have the time to implement them and have the room in their heads to actually reach out to someone like you and let you help them be even better than they ever were before. There's no question there. I just love it, and I wanted to say it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
Where can people find out more about you? Where can people connect with you, talk with you? Do you have a preferred social media that you're more active on than others?
Well, for business, I'm on LinkedIn, and that's where most people go if they want to connect with me, right?
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, it's under my name, but Lori Irvine on LinkedIn. I have other social media things, and I do articles and things, but I don't have like my own blog. I usually contribute to different articles and stuff. I usually contribute, or I'll put them, anything that I do contribute, I actually add to LinkedIn as well.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I guess that's the one-stop shop then. If people want to find out more about you, read the stuff that you're putting out there, maybe reach out and connect with you, LinkedIn's the place to go.
For sure.
Right, I love it. Do you have anything to add before we go? I feel like we breezed right through so much stuff in just like 10 or 15 minutes. Anything else you want to say to the audience before we close out?
The one thing that I wanted to say is the one thing about coaching that, the only way that coaching works, and I think it's really important to say this because a lot of people will say, I've tried that coaching and coaching doesn't work, or consulting doesn't work. The only way that something's going to work is if you give them the tools. If they don't build the house, it's not going to be built. So, the tools can come out and you can show up and you can give all the content. You can apply it and, apply the knowledge while you're there. But if that doesn't carry on outside of your presence, and if it's not followed up on or evaluated or looking into what are the blocks and barriers and breaking those down in order to, get back on the wagon and continue, then it doesn't work. So when people say to me, do you really think coaching works? I say, that's up to you. Right.
Perfect.
So, and if somebody says, well, will it not work? And I say, yes, it won't work in the event that you don't carry on the system that you're taught. Right. But if you do, then yeah, it should work. Right. And I think that's the sticking point. And I think it's really important to put the accountability on the client or the person who's getting coached, and to be able to track and own their progress with the sense of being honest with it and owning when they are struggling, and to be able to feel comfort and have trust in the coach to be able to push through some of those barriers, because there always will be those things, and that's okay. Right.
Exactly. There always will be. You get the guidance, the tools, and the accountability. People like to skip out on that last one. It's like, you're going to have the accountability. It's going to be up to you, but come on now. you got to get to work.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Lori, it's been great talking with you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it too. It was great to have this opportunity.
Yeah, too short, but very sweet and very fun. So thank you. And thank you to the audience who's listening. And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks so much.